Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is currently the 20th of September and it's nighttime here in Canada, and I figured I would like to film you guys a video of something I've never really done before, I don't think, and it's non-video, it's just a discussion. There's a lot of changes happening in game, there's a lot of stuff on my end, and I would kind of just like to talk about it, have a laid back discussion. So if you guys are playing the game, feel free to put me on the second monitor, which we'll talk about. And honestly, just chill, lay back, and if there are some aspects to what I want to say that you guys don't want to listen to, like some of the topics, down in the on the play bar, like the timeline of the video, if you hover it, there should be a chapters break-in, so you can switch to topics that you want to hear or skip over topics that you don't. There's going to be a bunch of different topics. I'm going to talk about myself for a bit, the vain person that I am, of course, talking about myself. We're going to talk about Echo population-wise. That's going to lead into discussing server merge. We're going to talk about coming updates, things that are happening in game. We're going to talk about auto win strategies in game and the philosophy behind that. We're going to talk about motivational aspects and just a couple different aspects in the game. It's going to be a little bit of a free-flowing thought. Usually I try and restrict myself in terms of like how long a video is going to be. I decide beforehand, I'm like, oh, I'm trying to make this under 10 minutes. And I stress myself out, don't let myself like speak fully. But today's not that. Today's the opposite. I'm just gonna chill, lay back, speak. This video might not be for everyone, but for some people who just want to have a laid back, like one-way discussion, let's say, kind of a podcast, to be honest, the Defy podcast. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening in game, a lot of stuff happening with me. So let's get into it. We'll talk about myself. Currently, I am living in my own apartment. For those of you who were with me, like in watching the channel, maybe I think 2 or 3 years ago, you'll remember that my room used to actually be like a closet. And I was made fun of it quite a bit because people would relate it to like the Harry Potter's closet that he lived in under the stairs. I think it was the first face reveal video that I did. I was in like my closet. That was my room. I didn't have a room at the time. But now I live in my own place, and I can't really give you guys a tour because my camera is not stuck, but it's there. But it is just one room, so by moving my head out the way and maybe swiveling my camera a bit, you can see kitchen's behind that wall, my TV, bed, this and that. But yeah, leveling up in life slowly. So currently living in my own place. I moved out from, I used to live with my family, and so I no longer live with them. I've always lived with my family, so it's pretty big change in terms of atmosphere of the house. It can get pretty quiet, and currently my girlfriend's not in the country. She's out of the country for a year, finishing her studies abroad. So it can get pretty lonely at home, but it's okay. It's also a good opportunity to like develop yourself personally, focus on your own things, and living in a place by yourself gives you opportunity to lead a house in the way that you want. Positives and negatives, but I think overall I'm quite happy. Next up, I'm also in school. I have one more year. I'm doing computer programming for people who don't know. Not much to say on that front, but slowly working our way there. I remember when I had to take a big break from Dofus, I was having so many problems. I was actually having troubles like in university and all that. So, and I switched programs. So a lot has happened since then. Currently 1 year left before I graduate, and I already have some jobs lined up and stuff. So I'm quite happy. This past weekend was ADCC. And if anyone there is a fellow grappler who does jujitsu, you would know what I'm talking about. If you are one of those people, shoot me a message on Discord or leave a comment. Like, I'd love to talk about it. I feel like I haven't really met that many ADCC watching or jiu-jitsu participating Dofus players, but I've never really asked, so it's not like it would have come up organically. Just like, oh, how do you beat Count Herborg? Well, you could leg lock him, see what happens. So it doesn't really come up naturally. Currently in game, what am I up to? I am, as you guys know, I finished gearing the 18 characters. Well, no, I didn't finish gearing, and that's the problem. I finished leveling up 18 characters on my main account. So that's just here. I got all the classes, which was a long time goal of mine. Just get all the classes 200. They're all scrolled. They don't all have all the spell scrolls, but they're all scrolled characteristic wise. The spell scrolls are not quite as expensive. One thing I vastly underestimated is how expensive gear can be. And this is something we'll come back to just in the next point, actually, which is going to be relating to echo population. Currently, the uh, equipment and runes and all that on echoes is quite expensive. And I vastly underestimated how much things will cost. So I ran out of camas pretty quick. Okay, like I have nothing here. This looks depressing, but I have enough equipment in my bank. I have all the dofuses and stuff, but my ultimate goal was to be able to play any set on any class. Now I got the any class part figured out, but I don't have the any set part figured out. That takes a lot of camas. Even considering like just if I wanted to give you guys a video where I use a Jahash cape, that's 200 mil, and I'm 200 mil away from that, and I don't have a Prober. That's another 100 something. I don't have a Philaster. These are the legendary items, but there's just random equipment. Like if I want a well-maged, I don't know, no marrow set, I want to show you guys a cool like crit damage set. I don't have that. I don't have those exos. I don't have the well-maged items. And maging's expensive, and buying maged items is super expensive because no one really mages because the runes are expensive. So it's just this whole terrible cycle. Anyways, I ran out of comments very quick. So currently in game, what I'm doing, I made a low level team. I haven't made any videos with it. Again, we'll talk about that as well. But I have a low level team that I'm kind of fucking around with. Currently, I'm completing the Crimson Dofus quest line. I'm almost done. I think I have 1 or 2 quests left. And just slowly, my goal is to, they're on fresh accounts, so I won't do a bunch of achievements with them. Achievements is something we'll talk about too. I'm doing a bunch of achievements. I want to do some quests, gather up like a substantial amount of wealth, let's say, and then transfer it to my rogue and be able to gear those characters while leaving my team geared so I can continuously make commas. I kind of shot myself in the foot, and I was warned by a close friend not to do this, but I sold my team's gear to gear my 18 characters. Okay, let me rephrase that. Like I had a PVM team, right? I had Panda, Uji, Mask, Feka, and I had some other characters geared as well, Iliotrope, Iop, and that sort of thing. And I was using them for PVM purposes. And then when I started going back into trying to do some PvP stuff on my main account, I sold all of that and moved over the commas. And my friend was like, yeah, but once you run out of commas, you're not going to have any ways to make commas. And I was like, yeah, but it's fine. Like after I sold everything, I think I had like 500 mil. And I was like, this will be enough. Not enough. Just the dofuses alone ran me like 300 mil. So it's nowhere near enough. So now I'm doing that on a team. I won't tell you guys the name of the team or the composition or anything. I'm still deciding what I want to do with it. But in terms of that, like, I do want to talk about YouTube a little bit and YouTube videos. You guys will notice I probably haven't been posting too much, but I am playing. And usually when I play a lot and I'm doing stuff in game, I would show you guys. But I've done a lot of thinking, and I've also reflected. I've spoken to a friend, and kind of one thing that I'm realizing, or have been made to realize, is Dofus videos are kind of boring, I think. Not to make. Like, I do enjoy making, I do enjoy playing, but just to watch. Like, it's not the most engaging thing. And you gotta admit, like, if you're watching a Dofus video, how often are you just watching the video? I know for myself, if ever I'm watching a Dofus video, it's like a second monitor thing while I do something on my first, right? It's like, oh, I'll just keep a glance what's going on. And that's not even talking about streams. Streams is even worse because streams have so much dead air and like dead time where nothing is happening. A video, at least, it's cut and formatted in a way where it's more quick. But streams, they just take forever. So I've had no motivation to stream because I know that it's just, like, I can come up with a theme for the stream, but it's hard to keep it engaging over time. And you'll look at someone, even on the French side, right? Like someone like Sapur or whatever, who gets 800 viewers a stream. It's like, yeah, but how many of these people are actually engaging? If you read his chat, there's a bunch of chat going on. But if you look at it percentage-wise, like how many different people, it's probably under 5% of the people who are actually engaging. The rest are just listening to it, which is like the passive YouTube listening. And that's something I'm trying to avoid in my YouTube Dofus making. I'm trying to make videos that are more engaging. You'll notice, for example, like the past 3 videos I've made, I'm trying to really give every video a strong narrative going into the video. So the first one that I'm thinking of, like from the past 3, was the Sacre video with the sparkling silver Dofus and that little combination for a one shot. That's a fun video, 5 minutes, and I tried to make it super engaging, and it actually showed. You guys seem to really appreciate that video. It got more thumbs up relative to the number of views than I think almost any video I've done before. Don't quote me on that. But you guys seem to appreciate that video. A shortly cut video with a clear and defined purpose that's more engaging, right? As opposed to usually when I make PvP videos, it's like 15, 20 minutes. I just show the whole fight. They could take kind of forever. Then the video I made after that, I made the Iliotrope statue challenge. That one got a lot less views. Might have to do with the presentation of how I showed the video in terms of thumbnail and title, not get enough clicks because not enough people clicked on the video. I get those metrics on the YouTube side, and a lot of people saw the video but then decided not to click it. So it's not really a problem of how many people watched it through, because the watch through was okay. It's just people weren't clicking it. So I think I messed up in the presentation of how I showed you guys the video, title and thumbnail, that is. And then I made the I made the new update video reviewing Pandawa changes. That one was good, and people seem to like it. And the thing is, it's just all these, they have very clear narratives, as opposed to just like, oh, let's PvP, or let's PvP, but I'm using Chance Rogue. Like, that's cool, and that's fun, but you know that that's just going to go on your second monitor, and no one's going to try and watch that. So I'm thinking I want to avoid that a little bit. That's where my mentality is at towards YouTube. Like, even now, I have my team. I don't really know what I want to make with the team. Like, okay, what do you want me to show you? Quests? Bro, I'm so bored doing quests. Like, who's gonna watch quests? I could do dungeons, but like, again, it's low level, and who the fuck cares? Like, you just take your one level 200 character and they would destroy the dungeon, right? Just my team sucks because they're low level. I could show, I don't know, there's different things you could show with a team, but just showing standard content alone is not engaging enough for YouTube purposes. You've got to have, I think, like something more. Like, if I were to make team content that I think is good, it has to be super challenging. It has to be a very particular dungeon, like idle score, and I give myself a challenge. Like, one of the ideas I had for a team, for example, video PVM, is Count Hairboard dungeon, but I can only use center targeting spells. So like Lightning Strike, Divine Sword, Selective Word on yourself, those sorts of spells, because those don't get affected by rotations. So the idea is beating Count Hairborg while completely neglecting the rotations mechanic to the room, just by using center seeking spells, Bloodbath on Sakura, that sort of thing. But I would have to build a PVM team around it. I'd have to do and figure it out. It's not that easy to set up, but I think it would be a cool video. It's always something I have back my mind, and I should hopefully come up with it one day. Fingers crossed towards that. Echo and low population. Moving on. So we have the server merge coming up, and I think it's very much needed. I don't know how it's going to turn out. We are going to be merged. I don't think they've given us a specific date, but with one of the Spanish servers, or more than one of the Spanish servers. But we're not going to be merged with any French servers. From what I've heard, the Spanish players actually play the game in the sense that they're not zap sitters. Like, they're out there doing PVM, and they'll fill up the markets, get the economy moving, I think, from what I've heard. So I definitely look forward to it. It's hard to think that maybe Ankama didn't wait too long. If you think about like, even right now, I'm looking at this map, it's so empty. Granted, people don't really stand at the -1-0 map anymore. Rip winged PvP. I still have my rank 8. I don't know if it'll show with my webcam there. Yeah, it'll show. I still have my rank 8. I'm not going to activate it. I have no gear, but people used to PvP here all the time. Not anymore. And just the economy of Echo is pretty crap. All things in market are super, super expensive. I saw this one tweet on Twitter where they took the price of every rune on every server and added it, and they took the total. So let's say like a French server, Ush, right, or Ush, or whatever. Anyways, they take the price of AP rune, MP rune, range damage, spell damage, range, summon, resistances 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, damage. That they add it all together, and they have a sum total, right? So I think most of the servers, the total was around one. It was either around 100kk or 200kk, something like that. And I just remember I went back and I looked at the Echo Market, and I did the quick math in my head. Bro, we're like double every other server. Our runes are so expensive. Getting mage gear is so expensive. And there could be different factors. Might not just be a population thing. Might be that we have people who, we just have like way more intense maguses. Or magi? Not sure. Isn't that a soup? Maggie. I feel like Maggie's a soup or a noodle or something. I don't know. You guys look it up. I swear to God, Maggie is a soup, but I'm not sure. Anyways, could be different reasons. Might be just we have a weirdly more intense maging community, but I do think obviously some part of it has to do with population. How many people we have on the server can affect the crushing multiplier, can affect how many people are doing different crushes, filling up the markets, like trying to make those commas. So our population is low and it shows, and most maps are empty most days. The chat here still oftentimes filled with percent off buyers, by the way. Not right. I know I have a lot of them on ignore, by the way, so there's a chance that they're there and just not showing for me. But good initiative on Kama to ban them. I think it discouraged quite a few of them. I don't know if they've actually banned people in game. I haven't really seen any messages like, you know, sometimes when a mod bans someone, it'll say fucking Worry Narco has been expulsed from the game for comma trading, for example. I haven't really seen any of those, but I also haven't seen quite as many percent off buyers, so that's good. I feel like Ankama should have a moderator on 24/7. Not a single one, but like they take shifts where, for example, they can just contract it out to a different country where at any given moment on the server, they just have one person watching the chat. Because I hate when I see, for example, I think last week there was some bot spamming about a Discord server called Inker Noob, where they're doing comma trading and all these things. And then you get bots who are putting websites, and I'll bet, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to be proved wrong, but I'll bet if I went to Astrip Zap, you can't prove me wrong, there's going to be a bot there that's like saying, whatever, what was the one that they always say, Vergame? Not a sponsorship, by the way. Maybe I'll bleep it. No, I probably won't. But yeah, so I think as soon as Ankama said they want to ban all percent off buyers, the first reaction from everyone was, yeah, but like you don't even ban comma traders, which we all know that's illegal. So why you just, what's the point of adding more things that are illegal, but you don't actually take any action? It seems to have worked a little bit. I really don't see quite as many percent off buyers. So well done to Ankama. I'm not sure what they've been doing behind the scenes to manage it. But yeah, so that's definitely good. Echo's population is suffering though. And in terms of it being too late, just to go back to that, because it's the whole idea is it's like a negative feedback cycle. What is it called? A negative feedback loop, whereby if you have a certain population in the server, everyone has a different tolerance of like how they enjoy the game with respect to its population. Some people can't tolerate a server that's dead like 90% of whatever X amount that we're talking about. Like let's say a server has 100 people. You have a certain number of people where if the server reaches only 90 players, they're going to leave. You have players who are okay with 90 players left on the server, but they're not okay with 80. Now, where like the negative feedback loop happens is a couple players leave, the population hits 90. Again, I'm just using this as a representation. Hits 90. Those players who don't really like the population under 90 start to leave, and then suddenly it reaches 80. And then the players who are like, ugh, I was fine when it was 90, but now it's 80 and it's starting to get too little, they start to leave. And it just starts to snowball negatively. It starts to snowball uphill. Does that make sense? No. But I think you guys understand what I'm saying. So at this point, it just feels like so many players have left. Like a lot of the people who I know, I just remember Rushu used to be way more popping. And it's crazy to think that Rushu, one server, had just magnitudes more players than the accumulation of all of the international servers. Obviously, this is not all Uncommon's fault. There's a lot of just like, even culturally, things have shifted, right, in terms of which games people play. And just naturally, if you have a game where there's no new players, there's going to be people leaving, and over time it's just going to die down. I'm not sure, I don't have all the answers. I don't know what steps Uncommon can take to bring in new players. And for all I know, there are new players. It's just I don't really see many. And whenever I see someone who's a new player, like I see a noob, if I ever have a chat with them, it's always, oh, I'm coming back to the game. You never really see organically new players. Very, very rarely. It's always, I'm coming back to the game. Or best case scenario, it's my friend dragged me into it. And quick anecdote, my brother, I have two brothers, the younger of them, he wanted to try Dofus because obviously he knows I have a channel, because I used to live back home and they'd hear me recording and I'd go outside and be like, yo, shut up, I'm trying to record. Sometimes it worked, sometimes you guys would hear them screaming. So, but anyways, I would talk to them about it. And so they know that I had the YouTube channel and they've always known that I played Dofus. And so he wanted to try it. And I've always told them no, because I know about the addictive powers of Dofus, or addictive, not powers, but like capacity of the game. And so I've always told them, nah, bro, like, I just don't think it's a good idea. Play other games, whatever. But circumstances happened and I was like, you know what, fine. He kept nagging me about it. I'm like, I go for it. I'm not going to give you gear. I'm not giving you anything. I can give you verbal advice and that's it. And so he started playing the game fresh. So he's a new player. I didn't even pay him a subscription. I showed him different ways in which he can grind for a subscription. He went through, I showed him Dofus pour les noobs so he could complete his silver Dofus quest line. He went through, he did it. He tried some different classes. It was cool. Then he reached level, I think level 60. He subscribed, reached level 60. I showed him what kind of gear he might want to go towards. I tried to explain like maging and professions and stuff, and he gets it. But then he just kind of got stuck. Like, he's a solo player, level 60, can't be anything his level, and everything under his level is not worth its time. And he's like, okay, what do I do next? And I didn't really have an answer for him. And I was trying to guide him in some sense. I'm like, as a solo player, you're just not doing much. Like, you can join a guild, I guess, and then ask for help, like to do different things. And that can definitely go well. But the point is, all of this was through kind of my guidance. And the whole time I couldn't help but think like, God damn, if he was just alone, like super new to the game, without me to kind of talk him through it or coach him through it, he would have been so lost, like so lost. So many questions he would ask me, which to us are super basic, simple questions. I remember I should have held on to this list, but I remember when he started asking me these questions, I was like, this is very interesting. I'm going to write a few of these down. Because he would ask me questions that to us is just like, this is rudimentary information, us Dofus players. But to someone new, it's like, yeah, how are you supposed to like understand that? How are you supposed to know that you can check the book to invite to ask other people to craft something for you? How do you know that they have to be the level of the item? It's like, these are things that you might know. How do you know how item recipes work and how each profession is divided? You don't just know these things. How characteristic scrolls work, how the spell damage is related to elements. Like, these are things that you can definitely understand and someone can explain to you. But if you're just thrown into the game, I don't think that the tutorial does enough to show you the basics of the game. I really don't. I think if you follow the main quest line in Incranam, you will. But like, you wouldn't even know to do that. Because the main quest line of Incranam takes you through the professions. It doesn't really show you anything about elements and stuff, but it gives you an idea of recipes and markets and that sort of thing. And it's a well set up thing, but you have to know to do that, and you have to understand like how to follow a quest line and how to accept a new quest, and the fact that an exclamation point means this is a quest. And they kind of tell you these things, but I just remember watching him and the questions he would ask me, and I was like, yeah, I guess I can see why it's hard for new people to get accroché to the game. Like, attached to the game. So that's what I have to say about that. That was the point about the low echo population. Let's talk a little bit about the upcoming changes. We have the Pandawa update coming up, and the Pandawa update is very interesting because the main thing that they were looking to nerf was the picking up aspect. There's different things they're trying to improve in the class, but it's just really funny to me how a certain group of people are like, oh my god, all hell broke loose. Okay, first of all, this is illegal, buddy. This shouldn't happen. As soon as this happens, mods should be there. It just takes one mod. Look at me. I'm looking at the screen. I'm talking all these. It's not that hard. You just keep one eye on the chat. Okay, swapping echo for this. Boom, muted. Here's the reason. Please don't do this again. And they should have some internal system to so they know if this person's been warned before or no. And if they've been warned before, ban, right? Anyways, but it's really funny to see, back to the Pandawa thing, it's really funny to see people who are like, as if all hell is broken loose, like, oh shit, how am I gonna do anything now that I can't pick up my Feka and auto win the fights? And I might as well talk about it now, the idea of auto win. I really hate the concept of auto win. And when I say auto win, it's when, for example, you go watch a YouTube video about a tutorial, you look up tutorial for a dungeon. Rarely do you find tutorials that are like, okay, here's how the mechanic works, here's how the monsters work, here's some general advice. If you have this sort of team, I recommend you take X strategy, but if you have this sort of team, I recommend you take Y type of strategy. And just using that advice to like organically beat the dungeon. It's always, okay, here is how we're going to beat the dungeon. You're going to put this character here, pick him up, do this spell here, and then you're going to do this loop of 3 spells over 2 characters, and you're just going to go back and forth, and then you're going to win the fight. Or you're going to be left with the boss, and then you're going to do this, and you're going to win the fight. And that whole thing takes away so much from the game. Imagine a world where Ankama was super attentive to any abuses. Even hell, I'm very guilty of this. A lot of people know that I did the Protozoa leeching. And the thing is, I don't necessarily blame the players, myself included in that scenario, because we're just being opportunistic to fulfilling a service. Like something is required and services are available to fulfill needs, right? It's like percent off buyers. You know, they banned percent off buyers, but percent off buyers didn't exist for no reason. They existed because they had an economic purpose. Fast cash for less value than what you're proposing, right? This even exists in the real world. Like, this is just how things work. And in terms of the auto win strategies, they exist because people need certain achievements, for example. And so they're willing to pay a price for someone to leech them those achievements. For someone to leash them those achievements through an auto win strategy, depending on the accessibility of the auto win strategy, then more people who are able to do that auto win strategy start to pop up, and then the prices start to drop. And as the prices drop, more and more people start to be like, you know what? Sure, I'll pay 1 million kamas for this duo achievement on X difficult dungeon. I thought this dungeon was super hard. I had a hard time doing it with my team. You're just gonna leech me duo? Hell yeah, I'll pay 1 million. But what does that do to like resource prices? Kills them. But what does that also do to the culture of the game? You got, now it's not so much of like, okay, I'm gonna open my dungeons and here's a difficult dungeon. I want to figure out how to do it. So I'm gonna get together with some friends, or maybe like take 2 of my characters and 2 of my friends' characters. We're gonna 4-man this, or even with your own team. It's less so, like, even for me, it's super messed up. I look at Vortex and I think this is what I think. Okay, I look at Vortex, I'm like, okay, I've completed Vortex. Focus, I know there's a very particular strategy with Heliotrope that you can do focus. Impertinence, I know there's an auto win strategy with Sedita. And Trio, I know that you can use that same auto win strategy with Sedita. So how does this work? Okay, well, now instead of thinking, how can I use my team to do Impertinence? It's, where can I find someone who knows the auto win strategy, has the geared character, and can leech me this? And so instead of, for example, reaching out to friends who have completed the achievements, discussing strategies towards like improving and actually completing that achievement organically. It's just buying X leech, PM me, and then whoever watched the relevant YouTube video on or on YouTube, of course, and geared the right character can now leech you that dungeon, and boom. And that takes away a lot, I think, from the game. I really disagree with the whole culture of auto win, and you find people like I got into not really an argument, but I'm gonna put him on blast by name, Slix Gaming. He has a YouTube channel too. Go subscribe to him. He's a great guy. But I had a little spat with him. Not really. He mostly agreed with me on Discord because he was posting screenshots of him completing dungeons with score 200. And he was like, oh, I asked him about it. He's like, oh yeah, I'm just trying to get these done quick before the Pandawa what am I saying? Before the Pandawa updates come in game. And I'm like, why? What's going to happen? He's like, oh, he basically said like, oh, it's going to become impossible afterwards. And I just think that's a horrible, horrible mentality towards it. It's like, why do you have to only win via these auto win strategies? Again, not to put you on blast, Slix, you're not the only one, but you're on my mind because from my perspective, we had this conversation today. And it's just, there are different ways to go about this, and I think they're much more beneficial to the game. One person who I appreciate very much is my friend who I featured on the channel before, Quinator. One thing that he does that is quite inspiring is he doesn't ever subscribe to these auto win bullshits, but he is still a great PVMer. Why is he a great PVMer? Because he's just has a good team that he's geared well over time, that he understands very well how different characters synergize with different characters, and he will learn a situation, like he'll understand the mobs and make good analytical decisions based on the presented situation. For example, a perfect example of this is when Eternal Conflict dungeon first came out. Everyone was like the big PVMers with big teams and well geared were trying to rush the dungeon and beat it, and everyone was struggling, and he struggled, but he was the first to beat it. Why? Just because he understands how his characters work. It took him a few tries to understand the mobs. Cool. Now, how do people beat it? Now, it's they figured out a strategy to do duo/zombie leeches with like double panda arts. I don't know, some shit like that, right? So now it's no longer I'm going to take my team and figure this out. It's just, who can I pay to leech me through this achievement? And I guess if the resources are expensive enough, it can be worth it. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, the resources are pretty expensive because it's quite a difficult dungeon. But yeah, so that kind of sucks. Server merge, I think I already spoke about a little bit. I think I just want to make one PSA announcement. I'm worried that people are going to be racist because I don't know. I've been on Echo and I've been on Rushu, and I know that people are not always the most tolerant, and they'll probably say not very nice things towards the Spanish people if they're having a hard time communicating, but maybe not. I don't know to what extent Spanish people speak English, but I would ask, if you guys made it this far in the video, but I would ask that if you encounter someone and maybe you get mad that you're having trouble communicating with them for whatever purpose, be patient, okay? Yeah, so that's mainly that. Last thing I want to talk about is in-game motivation. Because as I said, I'm doing stuff in-game at the moment, and I have some ideas. Maybe you could be doing things as well. And I was thinking about different ways to set this up. Maybe in terms of figuring out a way to have, not like a weekly challenge or something, but kind of, because there's different things that we can do in-game. And maybe it's like a particular achievement where we have, because I have an Echo PVM server, we can be like, all right, this week, let's all try and like bang out this difficult achievement. And we can talk about different strategies to achieve it. And everyone just posts their screenshots and that sort of thing. I was thinking about different ways to approach it, but there's different things that you can do in game. I'm just going to throw out some ideas. I put this here, I just want to mention it in the video because I was thinking about what I'm currently doing and what I enjoy doing. And perhaps this was in relation to like this low server population. Maybe people don't know what really to do and what's the point of logging on. So I just want to throw some ideas out there because it could be fun. One thing that's fun, that's for me, which I'm doing right now, is making a team. I do love making a team, especially a team of 4. And it's really nice to make a team. It's really nice to develop it slowly and watch your team grow, get better gear. Maybe at one point you have extra commas, you can invest in cosmetics, feel good, look good, play good, and beat different dungeons, do different quests. It's a nice feel. One of the better feelings in game is completing a quest line and getting that Dofus that you really want. I'm almost done Crimson Dofus, very much looking forward to it. That's always fun. Try get different achievements. I put that down as well. If I look this way, it's because I'm referencing a sheet. I try to be more organized with this video. By the way, this is not the last point in the video. I still have a few things I want to talk about with the coming update I skipped over. But yeah, like, you go here, you look at a dungeon. What achievements have I not done? Grab a friend, call them on Discord, be like, hi, you and I, today, we're gonna figure out how to do Bethel Duo. They're gonna be like, oh, that's hard. Don't let them look up auto win strategies, okay? Be like, nah, we're gonna sit here, we're gonna see what these mobs do, we're gonna plan out our turns, and we're gonna figure out a good way to get this done. Our gear's too shit? Okay, then we need to improve our gear. What sort of things can you do? Okay, can you mage your gear better? Do you need to buy better gear? Are you low on commas? Then find a way to make commas, right? And that's just how the game evolves. You need to set yourself a new challenge. What restricts you, whatever is the limiting factor, you need to push that so it stops holding back everything else, right? Like, if your skill level is top and analytical capabilities are fantastic, knowledge of the game are great, but your gear is poop, you're not going to get super far. So you're gonna be like, okay, let me improve my gear. And then suddenly everything is really good, but your knowledge of mobs is a little bit behind. All right, so now you can improve that, and you just keep matching and going up, and that's how you progress, I suppose. But you got to set yourself difficult challenges. So that's another idea for people. And maybe different professions. I don't know what professions people enjoy. Maging is super fun if you get into it. Unfortunately, right now it's very expensive, so I'm not sure I would recommend that. But I've always enjoyed trying to level. This is quest, bro. Relax. I've always enjoyed leveling professions and then crushing the items that I level. And in that way, I kind of level my professions for free. That's mainly been the concept of Rags to Riches in some capacity, which I know I've done too many seasons of that I have never completed. That's you'll forgive me for that, of course. You can see here I have like tailor, smith, carver, shoemaker. I've never crafted anything for anyone else. And I've never worn any of the items I crafted. It's just I craft, I crush, I try profit. And that's usually how I level my professions, and it's pretty fun. And given that maging may not be an option because runes are too expensive, well, you can look at the flip side. Maging's too expensive because runes are too expensive. Runes are too expensive. Maybe crushing can be extra lucrative, right? So you can go in that route. So different things to do in game. I think the main idea for me has always been to talk to people. I made, for example, the Echo Dimension server because I really love the idea of a place where everyone can talk. Like, I love to see a Discord server where it's just all these different people contributing. I passed on the Echo Dimension server to Firecaster, who's been doing a fantastic job. And I made recently the Echo PVM server, which will be in the description. And that has been doing great as well. People talking all the time, different strategies, there's different sections, dreams, dungeons, all that. And people, usually it's pretty much the same people talking, but it's still nice to see these people talking a lot about PVM. And it's really nice to see a Discord server that's active. Kind of gives you hope in terms of like, okay, people are doing stuff and that's fun. So yeah, and oh, by the way, might as well just mention, if you guys decide to make a 4-man team by this video, I will put a link in the description, a little self-promo. If you click it, and it'll take you to the account creation website on dofus.com. If you make your account through there, then whenever you like subscribe or whatever, they send me, I get some all greens as like a reward for, I'm like your referral. It's kind of like a, I don't know what the equivalent would be called, but like creator codes. For example, if you play Fortnite or anything like that, there's creator codes and they get some commission, let's say, off of that. So if you guys make new accounts, do it through your boy, Defy. Okay, next, I really want to talk about Expeditions, which is coming in the new update. Going to be super fun, super fun. I've obviously I don't actually know how it's going to look once it's done, but I've read over it and the concept seems really fun because the whole thing, the whole issue with like low server population and low motivation is the question of what do I do? So having these things that are a very defined, oh, we'll just do this. They can instantly improve the vibe of a server by quite a bit. And you'll notice like Temporises are super active, especially near the start. And the thing that's nice about Temporises to me is like they really show me that, you know what, Ankama still has all these people. Like people might not be playing actively, but everyone has their ear to the ground to what's going on. And when something exciting happens, they'll flock back into the game. So we got server merge coming. We got expeditions. We have a new class coming. How hype is that? Like those three things coming together. And I can really see those reviving Echo. So I know I don't know really what vibe I'm giving out. I think this it might be a little bit negative, but this is not the point of the video. I do have positive outlooks towards it. I think if they time it well and they manage it well, a server merge plus expeditions, which will be fun like activity to do in game, plus a new class, we should hopefully see a very full, it will no longer be Echo. I'm sure will be renamed. Don't know to what. Bro, if I lose my name, I just thought about this. Because when we got merged to Echo, I lost my name. I used to not have the -X, okay? I wasn't always an Xbox gamer tag boy. I used to be just Defy. But when we got merged into Echo, I became Defy dash square bracket open Roos close square bracket. I think they were caps actually, like this. Representing Rushu. And I kept it for a bit and then I was like, fuck, this is gay. But, and so I changed it to Defy X and I messaged support and I was like, hey, yo, support. I don't want to try to leverage my YouTube channel, but like, bro, please, come on. Please, who's this guy? Who the fuck is Defy? Like, and I would do /who is Defy and it would say it's not active. Yeah, does not exist. So I would message them. I'm like, it says it's not exist. They're like, yeah, well, someone has an account name. Their account's just inactive. I'm like, okay, so fucking delete them. They're inactive. And then they obviously said, nah, tough titties. So I was like, all right, whatever. Put a -X. They give you a rename potion. But so what happened then is a few months later, I did /who is Defy. I guess he's gone inactive again, but I don't know why I did it twice. And he actually started playing again. Turned out to be I've brought this up so many times. It triggers me so much. Turned out to be a level 130 IOP in Moogle set. Now, it's not because, you know, I'm more rich than he is and have a level 200 characters that I deserve more. Okay, that's elitist. But kind of like, bro, I just got so mad. Anyways, so imagine we get merged and I get turned into goddamn Defy -X -Ek. At that point, I'm just going to rename myself to Benjamite Gaming Copy Less Subs. That's going to be my new name if that happens. But anyway, so to end this video on a hopefully positive note, the new class is coming. I'm very, very excited for it. I'm not sure what it's going to bring. I've always contemplated like what sort of mechanics a new class might bring. And I've never been able to come up with anything good, I'll be honest with you. But Ankama, I'm sure they're doing a great job and they probably come out with something fun. I hope it's, I don't know if they've given information on what type of difficulty class it is. I'm really hoping for something versatile, something 3 stars. Those are the classes that I like, or at least I think that bring some sort of dynamicism to the game. Right now it's too early to speculate about anything. There's no information, so that's enough of that point. Like there's not much for me to say in terms of the new class, other than I look forward to it and I hope you guys are as well. And then server merge, expeditions, keep your eyes out for expeditions. I think it comes out on the 27th. Hopefully this video comes out, it's gonna be either today or tomorrow. It is the 19th of September. I think I said 20th, but while I'm filming this. And yeah, listen, I've never really made a, I'm looking here, it's 45 minutes I've been recording. It's not too bad. I honestly thought I would hit an hour. I guess I ran out of things to say, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Maybe one day I'll make something else like this. Let me know in the comments again if you guys watch Jiu-Jitsu, watch ADCC, hit me up. Let's chat. That was too fire not to talk about. Come on. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're not, and I will see you soon in game with a video you will actually watch and not put on your second monitor, unlike this one. Have a good day and goodbye.